Internet sleuths are so dangerous.
Wait, what? Sleuths are super dangerous?
Yeah, says the cyber sleuth, the Idaho murders, which began streaming on February 6th. So this is what I wanted to do, you guys. I want to talk about this, okay? And I intentionally wanted to talk about it just with like doing a little bit of a background read into the topic and what's going on with it and everything like that before I watch it. Okay. So interesting. Cyber Sleuths premieres on Paramount Plus. It is now this is interesting. So total play and manipulation here. Because when I first saw it, I was like,
It already did premiere.
Yeah. I was like, why have you watched it?
No.
Okay. So I was like, who are they maybe talking about? You know, who did they include here? And I don't know. It doesn't show it. But when I started digging into it, it highlights like, you know, the Don't F with Cats documentary that was on Netflix. It also talks about Max's, they called him mostly harmless, which that was solved by an internet sleuth as well. And then it goes into the Idaho 4. But what's interesting is they call it Cyber Sleuths, the Idaho murders, but all they're talking about is TikTok sleuths. So what's the difference? I don't know. What is the problem with a TikTok sleuth or an internet sleuth? I don't know. I have no idea. You know, what's interesting, and we're going to talk a little bit about Get a Clue tonight on a different story, but you know, one of Get a Clue's pet peeves is the whole misinformation, disinformation thing. You know what I mean? I'm only assuming that maybe that's the focus here. That's my guesstimate before I go into it, that's going to be their angle, because
this is why Get a Clue hates misinformation, though, is because, you know, he feels like it discredits everyone's work. Like, if you want to actually do good work, then spreading misinformation that you barely thought about, like, or didn't vet, is just
okay. But you want the truth?
It's just like disqualifying anything you have to say.
Okay, but you want the truth?
What?
The truth is, every single word that comes out of every single person's mouth should be considered as misinformation or disinformation. We've already dug into the fact that facts are subjective. Everyone's. I don't think people understand the scope of the meaning of that. It means every single thing that comes out of every single person's mouth, unless it is verified by objective backing data of said statements or information, is false until proven otherwise. That's why I don't buy in. I have nothing wrong with it. I'm not judging it, but I don't care about misinformation or disinformation. In my world, everything is misinformation and disinformation. And it continues to be that until proven. So I just don't have any expectations to be like let down. You know what I mean?
So, I mean,
even science is disinformation because it evolves. And once it evolves and it turns into the next level with some kind of different correlating background evidence, then all the science before it is now misinformation. So I don't see the same issues as Get a Clue. I respect his opinion, of course. And we all have different opinions, but I'm assuming that's going to be the angle here just because of the statement that says in parentheses, they are not qualified. Okay. That argument, that is so ridiculous.
I think the real issue is not everybody is like an actual sleuth. Like, there are people out here who are talking about it because they're interested in it.
I mean,
that doesn't make them a sleuth. I don't
consider myself a sleuth.
Me neither. You know, people just
I
because
lean into science, not investigation. So science is investigating.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I agree with your whole thing about everything being misinformation. I think that there should be some kind of backing or tying like if I'm going to talk about something, if I don't have a way to tie it into reality, then I'm going to say I don't have a way to tie it into any kind of reality.
Yeah.
And obviously we're all human and we make human error, and we don't mean to. Like, even if we're on here and we say something that we realize later is not true, that doesn't, like, everybody does that. Even with the best intentions does it.
Point.
Even if you know, you have some kind of study backing what you're saying, and then you find out the study has major issues. Like, we find out about tons of studies over the years, and then you realize, wow, that was not ever true, and I lived my life by that, you know?
Yes, and what's interesting
like
is I feel like
reuse and recycle. Where does all your plastic go? In a landfill.
Yeah, I feel like there is like somebody that would care seriously about like the misinformation, disinformation versus someone that wouldn't is someone that is more optimistic looking at a situation versus someone that's more pessimistic or questioning of situations, because every single bit of disinformation or misinformation that comes out, I don't believe they're doing it with harmful intent. I believe that they have good intent, and I believe that they believe they're giving facts. So why am I going to judge someone for that? That is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd.
It's different lifestyles. Like, you know, some people are just more cynical about things than others. And I mean, some people are just like that. And I mean, it is what it is. It's their choice to live that way. Other people are eternal optimists like you, who, you know, nothing anybody can say dampens your parade, you know? Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, it's your outlook, it's your perspective, it's the way you think about these things. I think disqualifying sleuths through this, saying that it's like some danger or something, like,
it's absurd.
It is absurd, because, you know, the real sleuths, like the ones who solve these cases, they found the information and they turned it over to the cops.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know what they're asking people to do? To not care about their communities, to not care about society, to not care about other people, to not care about their justice system. It is absurd. Okay. Misinformation and disinformation and gossips and the knitting circles and tea parties and all these things, like, this is nothing new to humanity.
It's just on the internet.
They're trying to make it seem like it's a new problem. It's not a new problem.
Oh, that's a good point.
It has forever been a problem. As long as human beings have been around, this stuff has been a problem. This is nothing new, okay? But this is what's interesting. I have a really interesting question here. So the person doing the interview here says, and this is the interviewer, and the response is the creator of this docuseries. He says, did you have any desire to wait for the Kohberger trial to start before releasing this series? That way, you could have determined if the sleuths in your series are right in any way. So, like, he's openly offering potentially misinformation, disinformation. What if these TikTok sleuths are right?
Okay.
He's putting down TikTok sleuths, specifically that Brian Kohberger could be innocent. He's saying that's toxic, dangerous, and should be stopped. What if Kohberger is found innocent?
Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
He's literally doing the exact thing that he's complaining about.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And he says, I feel like this case was the entry point to a story about the TikTok true crime generation. So when we were pitching the series, the outcome of the case was always irrelevant. What? Are you serious? Insane.
Yeah, I don't even watch TikTok to true crime. Hardly ever. Like,
I mean, I think this is
I've seen some
an
incredible stuff on
opening.
TikTok though.
I think this is a door opening to condemn everybody that's involved.
Yeah, but what is the point of focusing on TikTok? I don't understand it.
What's the point in focusing on cyber sleuths when you have story after story after story after story of successes, when you have America's Most Wanted that has the best stats nationally? Like, you have no evidence for this. So you're complaining for what? Where is your evidence that cyber sleuths are bad? Because you don't like them? Because the police don't like them? Because they can't handle being called out? Like, okay.
Good point.
It's absurd.
It is absurd. I can't think of any cyber sleuth that has actually hindered an investigation in any way.
No.
Not one story.
If they did, they would be charged.
Exactly.
With our militarized police that we have right now, they would be charged.
Yeah, they would.
So, wild.
And if they did, they were probably had some kind of mental health issue. Is probably the problem. They probably weren't like the sleuths I know of.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I am a believer in our rights as citizens, okay? I think anybody's allowed to say anything. I don't think that they should be stopped even if what they're saying is untrue. You're going to what? Successfully shut down every comedian that's ever going to come on the stage because everything they say is mainly untrue and subjective and intentionally twisted. Like, there's a line. What we don't get to tell people what they can or can't say, whether it's true or not. It's your job to figure out if you believe what they're saying based on the evidence that you can find. It is not the person that's talking's job to stop talking. It's our jobs to stop listening. Just my opinion, but
yeah,
you know,
I agree with that.
But I'm curious looking at this now. I'm going to be going into it, right, with a bias that I feel like it's ridiculous already. I don't even need to hear. I don't need to see how ridiculous the TikTok true crimers are. I'm sure whichever ones they highlight truly are going to be so insanely ridiculous. I'm sure they picked like people that could appear off their rocker based on how they shot it and the things they said, because that is.
They included the Chronicles of Olivia.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So no, not completely.
Well,
I don't know who all's included. I just only know the Chronicles of Olivia was included. That's all I know.
I'm curious to see what comes out of this, though. I am really curious.
I'm excited to watch it. I hope it's juicy.
Yeah.
So I can laugh.
Yeah. I just hope people are objective, scientifically focused enough to see the logical fallacies in this already. Like, very clear logical fallacies where anytime you have a binary system where one side's saying you're doing something wrong and the other side saying, no, you're doing something wrong, they're both doing something wrong. Like, you're both doing something wrong because you both are believing in the logical fallacy that if I'm right, therefore they have to be wrong. Actually, both sides can be right. Both sides can be wrong. It could land somewhere in the middle. There are no binary systems except for computer coding. You know, that's the only binary system there is. So
it's the world we live in today. You know, these sewing circles where people gossip, they used to be in the private of some grandma, like the privacy of some grandma's house. Yeah. Now it is on the internet for everyone to watch, and we just have to not care if people talk about us or not care if somebody said something that's blatantly false. You know, you have a voice to speak up and say what you want to say too.
Yeah.
I agree. It's, you know, you should do that if you feel like it's necessary, and verify all information. That's why we always say don't believe us, do your own research. That's why we don't call ourselves sleuths either, because we're just here to talk about it and present what we find. Like, we're not trying to, I don't know, I feel like sleuth almost implies hacker. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah. Sleuth is investigator.
Yeah.
Not hacker.
But some of the sleuthing stories I've heard where they actually like caught people, they kind of go into that territory a little bit.
I don't know about that. I'm not trying to give anybody fuel because I don't think that's what it is. The person that figured out,
why don't you just call yourself a PI and not a sleuth?
The person that identified that case, they called him mostly harmless. She put up a self-funded like, what's it called, where you can donate money or whatever.
GoFundMe?
I don't think it was a GoFundMe, but it was GoFundMe like. She put that out there, got enough funding to run a private DNA testing sample, and she was able to identify this victim because the police wouldn't do that. That is a sleuth there. That is an investigator. That's an investigator that started online. That's where sleuth comes from. If you're an online investigator, yes, it definitely can transition into real life too.
Like a civilian investigator is what a sleuth is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, it is, because they care about their citizens, because they care about their community and their justice system. And honestly, I'm here to say that I don't care what anyone says. We need more people like that, not less.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Now I feel dumb even talking about hacking. I'm just thinking of a particular story, I guess. That's what's in my head.
You're thinking of Don't F with Cats, where they reached out. So the ones that started all the interest into the Don't F with Cats case was hackers, because this guy was abusing cats, and these hackers, white hackers, like, everyone loves their animals. How dare you for abusing a cat? We're going to hack your coding and figure out where your GPS background data and location is so that we can find you and stop you, you know? And in that situation, that is a white hat hacker using black hat techniques, which, if you guys don't know, white hat is like a good hacker, just as simple as it can be. A black hat's a bad hacker, right? So they hacked into certain systems, as metadata, as computer, things like that, to locate him and stop animals from being hurt. Like, I take my hat off to those people. Good.
Your white hat off?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I if I knew how to do that, I would do it.
But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think, and I'm gonna watch it here soon, and we'll see what
we should
happens.
have a movie night, some popcorn.
Yeah.
And watch it. It's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.